All right, Lisa, I am filming again. We started out with some stationary cups and then took off the upper two. We're probably going to focus over here. Just I was checking along your spine to see what was going to be the area that looked like it needed the most work. In fact, I may work with only three cups now that I'm looking at it. So let's see. Let's take this beast off. I'm going to take it off on pause. Hold on. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to do some movement. You tell me what your tolerance is. We're in a different area for your ability to handle it. You're on there good. You've got a lot of edema, you know?
What's that?
You're retaining fluid.
Huh. Not good because
Well, it's the inflammatory stuff, right?
yeah, that one's super painful on the left.
Of course, it's close to kidney points. Your channels are even by the organ. And, you'd say that the kidneys are the seat of fear versus trust.
Okay.
So this is that space of surrender.
Mm-hmm.
The surrender to, oh no, is there more pain to process? Do I have to feel this? How's this feeling compared to last time?
Ugh, it's way more
In the
painful.
lower body, right?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what I think that
That's
you,
like super painful. Like where you moved it, I'm so much better with than where it was previously.
right. Yeah, I think
That's super painful down there.
well, then that might be telling too. If you're talking about, you're complaining more about experiencing upper body pain
Yes,
in general.
yes.
But what may be going on, since the indicators here is that if you have to root down in what's the earth element, the earth and water element of your body, and go into the seat, these, I can't even move that one. I had to, not
Yeah.
this one-handed moving.
Okay. Super painful.
This is a different quality. This is more on the
Ay.
surface, right? The pain
Yes,
versus the
the
depth.
pain is super, like on the surface, painful. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is part of the environmental factor. This
Okay.
is this is when you have, of course, it goes into the physical body. The emotional body gets stimulated when you feel it more on the surface versus the depth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where, you're not really looking at a physical trauma that injured the area, but long-term stress about the environment.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the environment includes, people in your lives, not just, of course, your home, your workplace, and oh, there's a great knot right there. Um, but also, your relationship to your community.
God.
Yeah, and you're watery here.
Okay.
I see that typically when people have it. What I mean is that you're holding an edema layer, which you shouldn't be holding.
Okay.
And I see that typically when people have lower kidney function. So, and you don't, and I don't mean the actual cells of the kidneys, but I mean the ability to move fluids in your body versus, and you don't, and that usually you'll associate that with some cardiac function, but it doesn't look that way in your case.
Okay. Oh, God.
Still surface.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to eliminate one of these, but we'll see.
Oh, God. It's so painful.
Can you identify a time in your life that you can associate it with? And if you can just sit in a space where you allow that to move out.
Can't.
Okay, well just sit. Sometimes if you can't get a visual or you can go into a feeling space. Does this feeling remind you of another feeling? And if it does, can you sit with that and go into the space of surrender? That's how we reset the limbic system, right? This in the stress response for your body. Okay, so we just eliminated the other cups and went to one, which is, like you said, a lot better, huh?
Yeah. Oh, that's painful.
More pain.
Yeah.
But the swelling that happens on your skin here, other than that, the enlargement of the pores I see when there's a lot of inflammatory fluids underneath anytime I cup. And so that's happening. I know you can't see it right now. And it's interesting, you're very close. This is very close to an acupoint, your darkest areas. That's due for. They call it the the gate of life. Um, what's interesting is that I could give you my crazy talk. I see it as like a wormhole, like a gateway to other layers of consciousness. And some people would refer to it as like the Bermuda Triangle is to the earth where things get lost. so, so it becomes a space of vulnerability. And one of the things that, I mean, you think about when, if you're female, one of the more comforting things, if you have a very stable male, is when they put their hand on this area on your low back.
Okay.
It feels shielding. Do you have that experience?
Yeah.
Right. I think that's a pretty universal experience, but I think that that's part of it, feeling that masculine energy being a protective energy. And I think over that gateway. And so this becomes a very vulnerable space in our body.
Okay.
And I think that's also, other than anatomical reasons, one reason why we have so many low back problems. But I'm gonna check over these areas, which are going to be areas that affect your kidney. Again, I know that you're very sensitive here. Just because I wanted you to sit with the energetic, and I know we talked a little bit. So kind of sit with that. Do that thing where I was talking about flipping back through bodies. And I'm just have my hand here to hold the field for you. Better. That's much better. Can you tell the difference? Yeah. You're clearing an area from here to here.
Awesome.
Good. And I'm going to check the other side, and then I will stop torturing you.
Okay.
Just as tender on this side, or is it more so on the left?
More so on the left.
Okay. Okay, we'll leave that one as it is. Thank you.